best fragrances for a particular price range. And the first one that we did was about, I think, what, 25 or something, 20, 25. Then the second one that we did was at 40. And there's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot in like the under 60 or under 80, or so we're just gonna go from 40 to 100. There is a whole group of people that you say up to $100. Those fragrances are good enough quality that's all you're ever gonna need. It's all you need, right? I'm tempted to agree with them. It's very similar to watches. The Invictus versus the Tudors versus the Rolex versus the Pateks. These things don't automatically just go up in quality the more money you throw at something. There's a cap. Something can only be good enough quality that once you hit 100, that's so far past the threshold of what these things cost to make that you don't see a huge variance in quality. It's mostly prestige at that point of fragrance. Hey, did you get this? No, I can't afford that. I can't. Aventus, right? I've heard that more than a few times about Creed. From Creed wearers, alleged Creed wearers. So, this is a pretty big price category. And the reason being is that there's not that much. There's the Paco Rabannes and there's the Jean Paul Gaultiers and whatnot, but everyone is kind of fighting for that $25, $30 spot, and these guys are just kind of chilling. Not nearly as competitive now that the Middle Eastern fragrance houses have made the game so much more competitive. So, I have 10 here of what I would consider to be 10 of the best $40 to $100 fragrances. We're going to talk about these mixed in with some mass appealing ones. So, first off, these fragrances are based on discounters. Never shop at Dillard's or Ulta or big box stores. All you're doing is getting ripped off. You shop at discounters, Perfume Spot, Joma Shop, Fragrance Net, Forever Luxe, hit or miss on them, but that's what these prices are based on. The first one that I have for you today is going to be from the house of Giorgio Armani. This is Aqua Di Gio. This is the Eau de Parfum. And I love the way that these bottles sound, man. When I was doing a lot of the tapping videos, or I don't know if you could say that I ever did a ton of tapping videos, but Aqua Di Gio bottles made the best tapping noises. And then they also, at least this one has the you can see if it has a magnetic cap. Actually, this one doesn't. The Parfum does. Cool cap nonetheless. And I believe this might be one of their refillable models too, but this is the Eau de Parfum, and this particular one was made by the same guy that made all of them, plus his son, Alberto Marias, and son. The original Aqua Di Gio coming out in the 80s. Don't quote me on that. is still in this price point. When I'm showing you this fragrance, I'm not saying that the Eau de Parfum is the best. No one in their right mind would say that the Eau de Parfum is the best. I think it might be the worst. But this is the one that I grabbed. And this is your ozonic, aquatic, salty fragrance. 2 years ago this came out, and people didn't like it too much. It got rid of a lot of those notes. See, they skipped over the EDP and went right to the Parfum. And it took them that long to get this Eau de Parfum. But they skipped out on a lot of the notes to try to reduce its complexity. And when they did that, they kept the C notes. What does C smell like? It's salty. So this is very salty. Kind of puts off a rusted, metallic vibe, which some people like, some people don't. I find this performs incredible. But sometimes you don't want it to perform incredible because you're tired of smelling it on yourself. This is Eau de Parfum. I don't know if you can get the Parfum concentration for under 100, but if I had to advise you on which one to pick up right now, it would be Profundo Eau de Parfum, not the EDT. I've never liked Profundo EDT. The Eau de Parfum, though, I think is one of the greatest fragrances, at least more recent fragrance. So Profundo, the Eau de Parfum, the repackaging will look like this, but blue, and it'll be gradient, so it'll have blue, then come down here, and in the bottom it'll be clear, so easily identifiable. Let's continue. Next, I'm going to introduce you to perhaps one of only two niche houses on this list, and that is the House of Mancera. Mancera fragrances will run you about 60, maybe 50 to 120. This is Red Tobacco. Probably has good tap into. Oh, there you go. Much higher. Now this one does have the cap. The cap that I thought that the Eau de Parfum had of Aqua Di Gio. This is not really a fragrance that you want to get if you're new. It's a sophisticated scent. It's a fruity scent. It is a fragrance that fragrance lovers enjoy, but maybe not so much. The reason why I say that is this isn't everyone's cup of tea. Very strong tobacco and cherry tobacco. Very much smells like you walked into a tobacco shop, cigar lounge. And not everybody likes it, but this is also a 1 or 2 spray. Newer people tend to go a little too crazy spraying. Not being able to control this would be bad. But there's a lot of really good Mancera, less offensive fragrances. Cedra Boise, Instant Crush, Amore Cafe, if you like coffee notes, lemon, line, black line for rose-based fragrances. They even have some hemp-smelling Kush fragrances. They have a pretty wide variety. One thing that you're not going to find a whole ton of in Mancera are like rich gourmand type fragrances. It's not really what they do. overstepping by saying that this is probably their most purchased, most well-known fragrance line, and this is why. Why? And this, I don't know, this just has a simple cap. It doesn't make that great of tapping noises. Don't get it for its tapping sound. A little bit thicker, I think. But this is the Eau de Parfum Intense. It has continued to get better and better and better. It is such a good fragrance. It's my favorite among the line. They have Parfum, the Le Parfum, the regular Eau de Parfum, the EDT, and the new Elixir. This is a masculine yet floral fragrance. A mass appealing, rich fragrance. Geranium and a little bit of that muskiness just to steer it a slightly masculine. This is a great fragrance to pick up if you have a significant other or something, because people don't really hate this fragrance. You might not be blown away is the worst case scenario, so it's pretty blind buy friendly, but also you can probably find this in whatever kind of fragrance store that you have to sample it. It's really good fragrance. Really good fragrance. Do I wear it? No. I don't wear it much. But every time I do, I get compliments. Every time that I've worn this, I've gotten compliments. So why don't I wear it? Well, I don't know. It's just not 100% my preferred note breakdown. But more than anything, I just like to be a little bit more unique, and there's just so many people out there wearing why. As promised, next from Hugo, and I can't believe that this fragrance makes this list. That's crazy. This is a testament that if you see a new release and it doesn't blow you away, don't buy it. Within no time, it's going to be a fraction of what it is upon release. And this is myself. I found this before this video for $80-something. That's not even close to what I paid for this. This was a $155 release. And I was blown away when I tried it so much, so I just bought it. People say this smells like the new Le Parfum. I disagree. The new Le Parfum is a vanilla bourbon, kind of a fall winter fragrance. This is a 4 seasons, wear it all year fragrance. Bergamot, simple, easy, fresh, unisex, but definitely leans just a tad more masculine. The fact that this is under $100 in a year turnaround, because this was released, I believe this was a 2023 release, is amazing. And I think, myself included, is a little bit harsh on this particular fragrance. Just, hey, that's not bad. Just because for $155, you expect a little bit more out of performance. But I think at, $80, $90, this is kind of like a no-brainer, to be honest with you. Okay, 4 down, 6 to go. Let's get this one out of the way, because I'm not going to be happy with myself with this one, but You know what it is. Savauge. I'm just kidding. Don't pronounce it like that. Savauge. That's okay. If you just say savage, though, that's what everybody says. Got that savage. It's amazing. They put one more letter in there that people aren't familiar with, the U, and it totally throws them like sausage. It's like, no, nope. That actually isn't bad. You literally pronounce it like sausage with a V. I don't know why people have such a hard time with it. This one, magnetic cap. I love magnetic caps, man. This is your quintessential bluesy type, masculine, mass appealing fragrance. The only fragrance I think that's sold more than this is Aqua Di Gio, and that's a maybe. Maybe that's changed. This, one of the most popular fragrances of all time, most sold fragrances of all time. It's inoffensive. It's mass appealing. Nobody hates it. The worst that could happen is you find someone who doesn't love it, and that's what a lot of people in the fragrance community feel about Savauge. It's not that we hate it, it's just that it's so mass appealing. It's kind of like, I heard a quote one time that said, you can tell what someone stood for by the amount of enemies that he has. And if you don't have any enemies, probably means you never tried to do anything. That's this fragrance. It has no enemies, but it's because it doesn't try to reinvent the wheel, doesn't try to change anything, doesn't try to be anything other than just a simple blues mass appealing fragrance. Everybody wears it, everybody has it. No, so people going, well, why do you have it on this list? You haven't said a good thing about it. No. I said the greatest thing you could possibly say about this fragrance. It is number one for a reason. It is king for a reason. It is an incredibly popular, incredibly common fragrance because it is good. It's just not something that a lot of people in the fragrance community like, and that's okay. We don't have to like everything. Goodness knows we don't like most things. This next one, this is from the house of Emporio Armani, and this is Stronger With You. Another fragrance that hits, I would say, above its weight class. This apparently underwent a bit of a reformulation. I never tried the original one, but I do like this one. This is a floral, vanilla, bourbon type fragrance. If you've ever tried Les Parfums, YSL, myself, Les Parfums, they're both very similar. This is sweeter. This has a lot of clones, Contrast, Stronger With You being one, and Odyssey White by Armani being another. The floral notes in here give it a hint of sweetness, cinnamon, and there is it's not praline, nougat or something. There is a rich candy gourmand note in the mids. I heard someone describe this. It wasn't someone, it's actually Fragrantica, I think. Describes this as like an oriental fougere fragrance. I have no idea where they're coming from with that. That's crazy. This is a rich, boozy-esque, not too boozy, not Killian type boozy, gourmand. And it's very good. This is the best version, intensely. The best version. And it's going to let's do our last niche house. Let's do it. This fragrance is so good. It's an eau de toilette, and it still makes the list. From the house of Maison Margiela, it is Replica, and this is by the Fireplace. The best Replica. Jazz Club is great. Autumn Leaves, wonderful. This, though, is something special. It's like a chocolate hazelnut, graham cracker, sweet, gourmand. Think about s'mores. Then add in smoke. I never noticed necessarily the prevalence of the smokiness in here until I tried this fragrance from a Cologne that just removed the smoke. And while it's not overly smoky, it doesn't smell like a fire to me. It provides a rich complexity and depth to those sweet notes. This is one of the greatest gourmandy sweet type of fragrances I think ever made, and is amazing. Incredible fragrance. Probably $80. Great fall and winter. I don't think I would ever try this in spring and summer, but it's a miracle that I added it to my collection, because the fragrance person who told me about this particular fragrance did a horrible job at describing it. Horrible job. Oh, it's like being next to a fire. I'm like, who would want to smell like they're next to a fire? That sounds awful. But it's not. It's not that. Up next, very much a designer fragrance from Hugo Boss. This is Boss Bottled Elixir. I've talked about this fragrance so many times on my channel. It is a masculine, not as mass appealing fragrance. Very masculine, very incensey, sort of a leathery, rich fragrance that again lends itself to fall and winter. Never would I try this in spring and summer. But this is the reinvention of the wheel. This is the best sort of brawny lumberjack masculine fragrance. Home warm. It doesn't matter how cold it is outside. This will make you feel warm. I mean, it is an incredible, incredible fragrance. Again, the fact that you can pick this up for under $100 to me is just crazy. And they do cut corners. You know, this cap is cheap. It's plastic. It's like garbage, you know. Packaging is nothing special. So they cut corners where it matters. Even though all that stuff doesn't cost that much, it performs where it matters, which is the fragrance itself. Really good fragrance. Incredible fragrance. This is your go-to outdoors during winter type fragrance. Two more. Next, from the house of Valentino. This is Uomo Intense, and I just grabbed this to be an example of the Valentino line. I'm not saying Uomo Intense is the best one. It's very subjective. Yellow Dream. Is one of them. Coral Fantasy is one of them. Green Extravaganza. Of course, there's the Born in Roma. this one, as well as the Born in Rome intense, is that these are eau de parfum concentrations. They perform better, they last longer, they project greater, and they're about the same price. They're all about the same price. I didn't realize that the other ones were eau de toilette concentrations, and it only matters insofar as if I'm going to spend $100, I want to know it's going to perform well. Now, Replica does a great job. This is an eau de toilette. It does a very good job, but Born in Rome Intense and Uomo Intense are both eau de parfum concentrations. It's the highest concentration Valentino makes, in this particular one is an iris leather type fragrance, masculine. Another one of those non-4 seasons is a 2 seasons limited use type fragrance, but it's in the same vein with fragrances that cost $120 to $250 and the DIORs and whatnot, and I think it performs just as good, if not better. It's really, really good. But to repeat myself, this is more so for the Valentino line and less of Uomo Intense. I got one more. This one does come from a line. However, I very much mean this one is the best one. And that is from the house of Victor and Rolf. And this is Spice Bomb Extreme. This is my other vanilla fragrance I was telling you about. This is a compliment magnet. This is a killer. Women very much like this fragrance. Very spicy, but not offensive. This, if you're familiar with cremose spice and black vanilla, it's similar to that. Good performance, massive projection. It's just all around a great fragrance. Vanilla-based fragrances, I'll never understand people that say, can't wait to wear my vanilla in the summer. To me, vanilla in the summer is disgusting to me. If someone came up to me wearing a vanilla fragrance in the summer, I might just vomit. To me, vanilla and sweat is just so petrifying. It's disgusting. But to each his own. That's just me. So again, I have to say, this is very much a early spring, very much a fall fragrance, and winter as well. So this is, kind of the best of designer world. You don't have designers typically going for over $100 on the discounters. It's a unique situation. If they are DIOR and YSL are that exception typically, because they're just jerks. And they give their marketing way too much money, and they have to compensate by charging you more. Top 3, if I were to list top 3, first off, I recommend all of these, obviously. But top 3, I pretty much have already put them to the side. I think my top 3 are going to be, I struggle with that one. Let's go number 3 is myself. I was going to put Valentino. I think Valentino's 4 just because I don't think the other members of the family perform as well. Number 2 is Boss Bottled Elixir. Number 1 is Spice Bomb. I waited so long to get Spice Bomb, and to be quite honest, it was a staple, definitely a staple in date night fragrances. This, maybe not so much. I don't know if I would wear this on a date. I'd be concerned that my date would not like it as much as I do. designers, time to go niche for $100 and up. That'll be exciting. Until then.